and I'm a training partner at Vextur, and I will be your host for this session. So before we start with the main body of the webinar, let me quickly introduce you to Vextur, to our company and what we do. So we are a certified premium Moodle partner in the Baltic states, and our services extend throughout Europe and some other continents as well. So we specialize in providing services for e-learning platforms, and we especially specialize in Moodle hosting, support, and development. So our services are tailored to meet a lot of clients' needs. We prioritize putting the client's need on top of everything else, and that is our main mission. So one of another key aspects of what we do is we partner with companies that provide tools and solutions for learning platforms such as Moodle. And one of our partners today is Wiris. So we have been partnering for them for quite a while now, and now we are hosting this webinar together because we wanted to introduce everybody to their two tools that are tailored for STEM education. So they are called Math Type and Wiris quizzes. So this webinar today will be about those two tools, and I will let our representatives from Wiris today to take it over and start with the webinar.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Sophia. Thank you, everyone, for joining today's webinar. Thank you for your time. We will be here presenting, as Sophia said, presenting our company, our experience in STEM content creation, and what are the main tools that we developed for academics. So from our part, from Wiris, today we'll be presenting myself, Ekaterina. I'm a key account manager for Baltic countries, and Jordi Masso, who is a technical support agent here at Wiris, and he's a Moodle specialist, Moodle magician. So he will be doing a demo part to show you how you can create content within the Moodle with Wiris tools. So without any further ado, let me share my screen, and we will go to the presentation part. Okay. So the agenda of today's meeting will be we will try not to extend it a long time. We understand that you're busy people. So we will present a little bit about our company and our portfolio, and we'll do a demo part. So first we'll talk about Wiris. For those of you who don't know us, we'll present the company. We will talk about the key segments of our partners and customers and give you some examples of those. Then we will go to the Wiris portfolio and introduce you to our main products, our main developments, that, as Sophia said, are Math Type and Wiris quizzes. And at the end, we will pass to the demo part within the Moodle. So that will be our agenda. And at the end, if you want to, ask something, we will leave some time for a Q&A session. Okay. So let's go with an introduction about Wiris. What is Wiris? Who are we? What we're doing? So Wiris is actually a pioneering software development company. Last month, we celebrated 25 years of our company, of being on the market. We're based in Barcelona, in Spain, our headquarters, and we also have another office in Long Beach, in California. And we operate all over the world. So we have partners, basically all over the world. You name the country, and we will be there. So our main development is very niche. It's, development of the tools, of digital tools for creating content in STEM. So for math, chemistry, physics, engineering, and, main STEM subjects. So our key segments are basically academics and corporate. Wiris started as purely development company purely for academic sectors, so for schools and universities, people who work in science, even the ministries of education. But lately, we are expanding a lot to the corporate sector also. So we have partners within the publisher, in assessment sector, in digital assessment, ed tech companies, LMS, and basically we're covering all the segments that that are doing, have something to do with digital teaching and digital learning in STEM subjects. So just to give you more examples about our partners or customers, myself, I like more, work partners because we, mutually nurture each other. We're also trying to be better in our products because of the experience that our partners share with us. So here, for example, you can see the different sectors when we have our partners. So LMS, that we are certified Moodle partner. We're also partners with Canvas, Blackboard, with D2L, the Brightspace. If we talk about academic sector, well, it's different levels of digital learning, actually, starting from K-12 to the universities. So one of the biggest and notorious, for example, is Yale University, Harvard University, Vilnius Technical University, Riga Technical University, among our partners that are using our products, our tools. If we speak about publishers, the most well-known worldwide publishers like Sanoma, McGraw-Hill, Pearson, are also using Wiris tools to write STEM content. And if we speak about corporate and government sector, well, we're partners with Ministry of Education of Estonia, and Wiris tools are used, on the state level in Estonia. We are partners with the Queensland Curriculum and Assessment Authority in Australia. So you can see like we're all over the world, and not only the world, not only Earth, but we're going to space because we're also partners with NASA. So NASA is also are using our tools for their scientific activity. Now, if we pass to Wiris portfolio, as been said, now on the market we have main two products that are MathType and Wiris quizzes. So just briefly explaining both of those products, what are they and what you can achieve with those tools. So MathType, you can see here the interface of this tool. It's basically a tool where you can write formulas in digital environment, right? So it's a tool where you can use a toolbar to write formulas. You can use a handwriting part, and we will see it in the demo site. And Wiris quizzes, it's a bit of a more complex program that is actually an assessment tool. So you can use this program in order to create exams within Moodle or within any other LMS, to create exams for STEM projects, practices, quizzes, and this kind of things. So we will see it in the demo also. So if we explain a little bit more about each of the products, about their features, well, first of all, we go to MathType. That is our flagship product, our main tool that is actually well known worldwide, between the people that are creating STEM content, writing formulas, math equations, and so on. So what are the main features of this editor? So The main idea of the editor is you can see immediately the math that you write. So either using a toolbar or a handwriting part, you already see the formula that you can export to the content. It adapts to your needs. So you can change the toolbar, you can change the fonts, you can change, how the formula will be presented in your content. It has a feature of accessibility. For example, if you need to write a content for students or for people with vision disabilities, we have also an AI-powered handwriting tool. So not only you can use a toolbar, but you can also use a handwriting tool to write formulas within the editor. For example, if you need to write it on your tablet, on your mobile phone, and so on. So you also can use it for not only for math formula, but for a chemistry formula. So it's the same editor actually, and you can use it like for both math and chemistry. You have an editing control, you have a full formatting control, and a wide range of mathematical symbols. And also, the editor understands MathML and LaTeX language. So in case you want to write your formula using the LaTeX coding and so on, it will be understood by the editor and will be changed to, let's say, good-looking formula that then can be exported to your final content. And also, well, we will be doing a demo within the Moodle today, so you can see the interface of the editor within the Moodle. But just for you to know that actually the editor can be integrated within, well, basically any digital environment when you can think of creating content, creating STEM content. It can be integrated within Microsoft Office package, within Google Workspace, in LMS, like Moodle, but not only Moodle, it can be Canvas, Blackboard, Brightspace, Schoology, and also on a web pages, on HTML editors like Froala, Tiny, CK Editor, you name it. And in case you don't want to use this worldwide known LMS system, you have your own custom, you have your own development, you want a custom integration. So this also can be done. So the editor can be integrated into your own platform, into your own development. And if we go to another tool of ours, if we present some of the features of another tool of ours, that is Wiris quizzes, before the demo of both of the products. So Wiris quizzes, as I was saying, it's basically an assessment tool. It was developed like an integration to your LMS, for example, like an integration to Moodle, in order to create specific quizzes for STEM subjects. So it's a specific development, very, very niche development to create quizzes, practices, exams for STEM subjects. And with this tool, we're trying to, solve the most important problems that we see the teachers or academic professionals are facing when they're creating this kind of exams within LMS system, within digital environments. So what are the main features? Why Wiris quizzes is so interesting? For example, from the point of view of the teacher. So with Wiris quizzes, we'll see it in the demo, you can create open questions. What does it mean? That normally, when you're working on this kind of digital exams, then normally you will create, a type of question when you need to select different type of answers. So it's a question, and then you have to select A, B, C. So we actually do not give our students like this freedom for answering the question. It doesn't give us as a teachers, as a content creators or exam creators, it doesn't give us much freedom for also for questions creating, for exams creating. So in math type, actually, you can do an open questions. You can not only do an open questions, but you can receive open answers from your students. So with that, you not only receive the correct answer like you normally do, ABC, but you can see actually that your student understand the topic, that they can explain you the logic of their answer. So I think for the subjects like math, like statistics, geometry, it's a very good feature, because you actually know that your student can understand specific topic, right? So also, we were talking about the formulas until now, but within Wiris quizzes, you can do not only formula question, but also graphical question with graphs, graphics, and statistical questions. So within this tool, there's also time-saving grading agent. So you don't have to waste your time actually grading and evaluating all the answer of your students. It will be done automatically by the tool. Also, very important for us to have in the digital environment the possibility to do 2D and 3D questions and graphicals. It can be done within Wiris quizzes too. And actually, what is important from the teacher point of view, there is a specific feature that will help you prevent cheating in your class. For example, if you need to do an exam, there's a specific feature of random parameters that prevents your student from cheating. So you know that each student will have their own answer and they won't, copy one from another. That is a great feature, I think, for a digital environment. Well, that's from the point of view of the teacher. But when we're talking about students, there are also, some good part for the student when they're using Wiris quizzes. So one of them is the open answer that I was mentioning previously. So actually our students, in math, they can be not only on one answer, but they can be like a different type of answers that are mathematically equal. So the student actually have this freedom to explain their answer, to give us mathematically equal answer, although it's not the one that we're expecting. So it's a very nice feature from the student point of view, to have more freedom when they're answering the STEM subject exams. You can also provide a feedback for the students. So not only they do practices and exams, but if they give you wrong answer, they can receive a feedback, for example, explaining to them how they had to answer the specific question to get a correct answer. So not only we doing exams and practices, we'll also continue learning, continue teaching within these exams. So our students have a specific feedback for them. With the same feature of random parameters that I was mentioning before, not only you can do exams and prevent cheating, but you can also create practices and practice the same topics with our students. And obviously, our students can use a handwriting part within Wiris quizzes too. So, for example, if they want to do their practices on their tablet, it can be done with the handwriting tool. So we talked about the teacher and the students, but we're forgetting also the very important role in all this process, that is our IT admin, the people who are actually installing the tools and doing all the integrations. And when you're going to them and ask them hey, we want to have this tool within our systems, and they think, wow, it will be super different to install, it won't be seamless. Well, this problem they won't be facing with Wiris quizzes, because we have a very easy integration for common platforms. We have a seamless integration with Moodle, and we provide our customer with constant support. We have a technical support part, We provide you with all the technical documentation. And above all that, we also provide trainings for teachers to explain them how the tool is working, how they can use it, explain the features 100%. So we have a specific training course for that. And I think we can go to a demo part for both of the products. So we will see a demo within the Moodle environment, both for MATLAB and Wiris quizzes. And I will pass it to Jordi for the demo part.
Am I sharing my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, yes. Well, thank you, Katerina. Thank you, everyone, for coming for attending this webinar. As Katerina explained, I'm going to show you a little bit in a Moodle environment how all these functionalities that we have explained are integrated. We're going to do it in 2 steps. In the first step, we're going to show it as a student. What would we see if the tool is integrated if I am a student that is answering a quiz? And then we're going to show it from the teacher's perspective. Also, how a teacher can introduce all this content and how these exercises and these formulas needs to be created in a Moodle environment. As you can see here in my screen, I'm in a Moodle generic course with the latest supported version of Moodle. As all of you are already Moodle customers, you will always recognize several of the interface that I'm going to show. But essentially, I'm going to attempt a quiz as if I was a student, and all the questions that we will show will include several of the functionalities that Katerina explained. So you will see it online and you will see how they currently work. So if we preview the quiz from the student point of view, they won't notice any difference between a Wiris quiz and a current normal Moodle quiz, because we enhance all the question types, but the quizzes are the same as Moodle developed, with the same settings, with the same options. We only focus on the questions themselves. And the first functionality that it's important for us to share is this automatic assessment option that saves a lot of time on the teacher side. Moodle native question types can only interpret answers literally. So here, if we're asking to compute a sum of 2 values, and the system will only accept those values that the teacher set as the correct answer. But here, as a student, we will be validated for several answers that are mathematically equivalent. For example, if the student answered 2 between 4, the system will recognize this answer as correct, as it's mathematically equal. But 1 between 2 will also be accepted. Even 0.5 will be accepted too. All of them are answers that are mathematically equivalent. In a Moodle native question type, you should think in all the formats that the student could give the answer in. So all of them are accepted. In Wiris quizzes, you don't need to worry about this, because by default, the system will accept all the answers that are mathematically equivalent. This would be the first feature that we have, the automatic assessment part. And before moving to the second one, as you can see here, there are several formulas, the 1 between 4 plus 1 between 4, that are included with MATLAB, our formula editor. We will see later how this formula editor is integrated and how you can create content with it. But just to show you the result, the formulas are rendered here, and the student also has a limited version of the formula editor, so they can also use it to introduce any formula that they need to. So just to show you that the students can also use the handwriting mode, that this handwriting mode can be used for this formula creation. So if you are using tactile devices or whatever, it can be very useful to also waste time and save time and don't need to find the corresponding symbol. The handwriting recognition will do the job for you. But well, as I mentioned, we will focus on how this editor works at all later when we are on the content creator side. But well, just to let you know that the student can also use this editor for testing purposes. Moving on to the second main functionality, as I mentioned, we were by default accepting all the answers that are mathematically equivalent to the correct answer. But this is something that in some occasions may not be of our interest. For example, if we are working with fractions, as we are in this second question, we may not be interested in accepting a non-simplified answer. So here is where this second functionality of asking for additional properties, comparing the answer not only with the value, but also with the form is possible. So here, if the student doesn't simplify the fraction accordingly, we can give partial grade, we can give feedback explaining why the student didn't get the full grade, and we can also distinguish between these answers that are simplified and answers that are not. Answers that can be rationalized, that can have the same denominator. There are several assertions inside on the products interface that a content creator can select depending on the question that he's developing. So you can customize all these validation settings to the particular subject or the particular question and content that you are showing to your students. And the third main feature in which Wiris Quizzes is built would be the possibility of adding random parameters to the questions. The first two questions that we saw were static, so all students would have seen the same values on the question statement, but we can also randomize this value. We can make these four numbers to be random between a given interval or between two values or giving following a particular rule. But the idea is that with this functionality, we can avoid cheating between them, and we can also provide several variants of the same question, so they can not only memorize the correct answer, they can practice several times with different numbers. So if we want to focus on this exercise of solving fractions, we can only create one question that will cover hundreds of examples of variants of the same question, so our students can practice several times the same exercise. All the features that we mentioned previously are kept with the randomness. So we will also have this automatic assessment. We will also have the additional properties consideration. So we don't lose any of the other features for wanting to randomize the parameters of the question. The question will also grade it automatically, so you don't need as a teacher to grade it manually once our students are finish the questionnaire. This would be, as I mentioned, the three main features, those that enhance question types, Moodle native question types, but we have also some other additional features that can also be of interest, like including units of measurement, not to only take into account mathematical teachers, but also to include physics teachers, chemistry, biology, or several other subjects that can be also interested in the features of the software, but taking into account units of measurement. So the same idea, by default, the system will accept any equivalent answer. So the student can answer the question in minutes, seconds, combination of hours and minutes, wherever. All the units of measurement will be considered, but you can also restrict that. If you want your students to work with the international system units or want to work with a specific unit, we can also restrict this validation. So all the answer needs to be in seconds to say something. So this is the philosophy. By default, all mathematically equal answers are accepted, but you can customize how the validation rule works to make it more restrictive or make it more precise. In the same way, we also include the possibility for the students to explain how they have computed their answer, just to not be that resultatistic, because the system, if the student makes an operation mistake, they cannot get partial rate by default because the system will not know where the issue, where the problem the student had. So the idea is that we can also include this option to include additional reasoning. So as a teacher, we can check where our students have problems, we can regrade the attempt if necessary, and we can focus on these places where our students have more difficulties. This reasoning can be included using the device keyboard. We can also include images or documents if you want to data scan, and the paper where they use to resolve the question. So they don't need to write anything here, just upload a file. They can also record an audio, a voice message explaining what did they do to solve the question. And obviously they can also use our formula editor if they need to include any formula. This is the complete editor that I mentioned before, with all these tabs, with several mathematical symbols that we have here. Also, the handwriting is available to include any formula that can be needed. But well, this is several functionalities that the student has at their hands to explain and how the answer was computed. Just to for those content creators that want to know the process that the students have followed besides the final answer. And just to go to the latest functionalities, there are also several advanced functionalities that can be also useful. As we mentioned before, we can give feedback depending on the question of the student's answer, but this feedback can also be customized, meaning that the feedback that the student will receive will also include their answer and will be different depending on what the student have answered. So here, for example, we're asking for a polynomial with several particularities, but let's imagine that the student makes the typical mistake that they don't cross the sign. Besides obviously saying that the answer is incorrect and not giving grade, we can also show a graphical representation of the correct answer and the incorrect answer, the answer that the student provide. We could also explain here why this answer is not correct, because if we evaluate it in the corresponding roots, we don't get a 0. This is something that this answer can be used on the feedback of the question. It's not only that you can say if the answer is wrong, whatever, or the answer is correct, whatever. We can also use it to make the feedback more customized and more powerful on the learning process of the student. And in the same idea, with the same idea, we can also create the teacher owns validation rule. What do we mean with that? That, as we mentioned, there are several default options to validate questions like tolerances, like additional properties, assertions, whatever. But sometimes we may be interested in accepting a set of answers that cannot be that easily defined in an existing assertion. For example, if we want the student to give a prime number that is greater than 50, there is not a checkbox in the user interface of the product that I want to check that the answer is greater than 50. This is something that we need to customize. So there is where the grading functions arises. Here in this example, there are several polynomials with these characteristics. If we don't say that they need to be monic and of degree 2, the student could include several polynomials, like, for example, this one, like 2 is a root of degree 3, minus 2 is a root of degree 4. This is a polynomial that satisfies this statement. There is an infinity of possible answers. So we may be interested in creating a validation rule that takes the student answer, that checks that 2 and minus 3 are roots, and if it's the case, it accepts the answer. We don't need to only compare it with a correct answer particularly. We can also compare it with a set of answers, with a set of conditions. That is what the grading functions allow you to. Just to finish with the last features, as Katerina mentioned, we are also ready to include graphical representations from statistics, from geometry, from analysis. And here, for example, we have a random set of students with several results in a math test. We can ask the student to interpret this diagram, and we can also ask to interpret it with several questions, like what we have seen from the moment. We were also requiring one final value, but we can also combine several questions in the same big question. This question can be open, like how many students, whatever, but we can also include multiple choice questions for your interest if this is something that we want to include to make the students choose the correct option. It's also a possibility. And we can also ask the students to draw some stuff with the graphical answer question type. I will show you another example, and I think that it's more interesting. That is this one, where we ask the student to draw the bisector of a corresponding angle. Here, the student is given with circles and lines and points, and using these objects, they need to find the corresponding answer. Here, he needs to create these three circles, use the line to find the correct line, and the system will check that the object that we're requiring is present. As you may know, these three circumferences are not unique. So the system is not focusing on these circumferences. We can say which objects are important for us on the validation of the question. So it's only going to take into account if the line is what we were expecting or not. And if the student answers with an incorrect object, we can also provide with a step-by-step feedback showing which step the student should follow to find the correct answer. So as always, we don't only say if the question is right or wrong, we are also concerned with the learning process that the student should follow to learn and to acquire the knowledge that we're trying to transfer. This a little bit would be the main functionalities that the tool has to offer on a classroom environment, and how the student would see the final result. Before opening a question moment for any question that may have arisen, I will also show you how these questions should be created from the teacher or from the content creator point of view. As you may know, all Moodle courses have a question bank. This question bank can be organized with among categories or among several slots. But when you create a new question, you usually see the native Moodle question types. These native Moodle question types doesn't have our functionalities, but at the top and the bottom of this selection is where you can find all the Wiris quizzes question types. All of these are the native Moodle question types enhanced with our properties. So the question types that are available will be the same with the same idea. And we will focus on the short answer. It is the most common question type. And I will show you a little bit how the stuff is placed. If you create a short answer, the Wiris quizzes one, the first thing that you will see is the same thing that you would see if you use a native question type. You need to define the question name, you need to define the question text, what the student will see when he attempts the quiz. And this question statement is where you can use our formula editor to include any image, any formula that you are interested in. For example, now we are going to ask the student to solve an integral and to find the area of comparison between 2 points of a function. So we could say calculate 2 points, and we can introduce the formula. using math type. We can use the handwriting mode or use the formula. And here we can say the integral, for example, between 1 and 5 of the function x squared plus 3. For example, this would be an example question. Okay, this is the formula we want to insert inside the question statement. So this is the formula that the student will see, and this is the exercise that the student will solve. In the feedback, the idea is the same. We have a general feedback and text editor where we can include wherever we want, but this is the same as in a Moodle native question type. Where our software is involved is in the answer section. Here in Moodle, we used to have an open text field where you can write x plus 2, you can write 135, whatever. But here is where all the mathematical stuff is defined in a place that is called Wiris Studio. It has a pretty, not complex, but powerful interface in the sense that there are several things we can configure. First of all, which answer we want. We're asking an equation for text answers, a plotter, or a statistic chart. These are the main options. And now, as we're asking to solve an integral, we're going to use the equation mode. We have some input options and some validation options to focus on the additional properties, to focus on the tolerance that we want to apply. And in the central part of the statement of the interface, we need to define the correct answer. Now we could calculate how much this integral takes using any other program, but we also have what we call CalcMeet, that is the online calculator, where we can define random variables and we can perform calculations. So in this case, we could say besides calculating by hand which the answer is, we can calculate it using all the powerful commands that the calculator has. So we are asking for the interval between 1 and 5 of, I think we said, x squared plus 3. And the system will calculate it for ourselves. We don't need to calculate it in another software. This also allows us to say, okay, I don't want all students to have the same variables. So I want, for example, that the extremes of the integral are random. So I can create a as a random number between 1 and 4, and b a random number between a plus 1 and a, for example. So now, if I define the integral instead of between 1 and 5, between 1 and a, every time that the student attempts the quiz, the statement will be different. We need to modify it, but we will do it accordingly, and the solution will be also different. So every time that the question is executed, the answer and the question will be different. We need to define the variable for this solution, and we need to define this variable as the correct answer. The only thing that you need to take into account is that to say the system that this is not S plus O plus L, this is the variable sol, so we need to include a hashtag symbol just to precede it. And now we can preview it, we can test it, so we can check as a student which answer will be accepted and which not. This is just to see a little bit how the validation system works, and it allows us to avoid bad validations for any reason. But the idea is that we have generated a question that has random values, and that every student will see a different statement in the question when he attempted. The only thing that is remaining, besides saying that this answer has 100% of the grade, is changing the statement. Now the integral that we want to ask is not between 1 and 5, is between A and B, but the same philosophy. As this is not letter B, it's a variable, we need to precede it for the hashtags. This would be all the things that the teacher needs to take into account. As you have seen, is not that difficult. You just need to get used to the procedure. But once you have read the 3 or 4 questions, you will see that it's very intuitive. And if not, as Ekaterina said at the beginning of the presentation, we have a technical support team that will help you. We have a training program that will teach you how to use these functionalities. Our goal is not to give you the product and it's your problem to use it. We are committed to give you the support and the accompaniment associated to the learning process. Anyway, once we have changed all this stuff, we can change the question, and we can also preview it as a current Moodle question to see how one of our students would see it. Now, as you can see, the extremes of the interval changes. Now we have 2 and 3, and the answer of the question also changes accordingly. So we can check and see how it behaves. So this will be everything on my side on this demonstration and showing a little bit how the tool works from the student and from the teacher's perspective. I hope it has been clear enough, but well, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask it here, to write it on the chat, or to write us to our support email.
Thank you, Jordi. Well, as mentioned, this webinar at the end is the idea to introduce you to our development, to our tools that we have for STEM subjects, for teachers and content creators. And in case you want to have more extended demo, in case you want to, know more, have more details, you can always contact Vextur, and we can organize like a more extended demo for your own purposes. So we have a few minutes left. I think we can pass to a Q&A session. So if you have any questions or any comments, feel free to ask live or in chat, and we will be glad to answer. Okay. I think like everyone is a little bit silent. In any case, if you will have any questions about our tools, or if you want to know more, please do not hesitate to write to Vextur, and we can follow up with you from there on.
Yes, thank you very much, Ekaterina and Jordi, for your presentation. I hope that everybody found it interesting and insightful. And before we wrap up this webinar, if anybody is still typing out any questions, you can still do that. And in the meantime, I'd like to extend a special offer to everybody who participated and joined here us today. So we are offering you a 10% discount on Wiris products. So if you're interested, hopefully that will be encouragement to reach out to us for more information, for demos, presentations, and just to talk about how Wiris products could fit your needs and your institution. So feel free to contact us at info@vextur.com anytime, and we will gladly help you out and provide information as needed. So thank you very much for joining us today. And I hope since we have some time, if there are no questions, we could conclude this webinar. And if not, we could talk about some more. And yes, thank you very much for joining. And thank you to Wiris for hosting this webinar with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Goodbye.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.